Hey everyone, I am with Monique and we are doing another PII testimonial. Hi Monique, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. You have a lot of experience with, financial advisor. We're going to go through everything and hopefully people will learn and you'll inspire people. It'll be great. So first of all, let's just start with the basics. Your age, your
Oh,
occupation, what city you're in, Canadian,
yes,
American. Tell me a little bit about Monique.
sure. So my name is Monique. I'm 56. I live in Bowmanville, Ontario, which is about an hour east of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I have three kids. They're all in their 20s, 23, 25, 27, two boys and a girl. I'm divorced. I divorced when my kids were just young, 2, 4, and 6. Um, I own a home. I have a rental property.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years when I was married, and then got into the workforce. And I've been with the Ontario Public Service for over 22 years.
Okay, so you have a government job, a nice and
I do.
steady government job. Okay,
I do.
perfect. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing all that. How did you
Yes.
first, sorry, go ahead.
Yep. No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, just to let people know, because it happens all the time. We're very far apart, so sometimes there's a lag, so it might seem like I'm interrupting or you're interrupting. It's not the case. We're not doing it on purpose. Anyway, had to say that because I always get comments about that. Okay, perfect. Thanks for sharing. So, how did you first get into investing? First time. How long
The
ago
very
was it? What's your experience with that?
So the very first time was in my late 20s. My husband had a contribution plan at work that we could start. I actually started that way. Everybody said you should have RSPs, so we joined into that through his work, and did that for a few years, and then had kids. And my dad started RESPs for the children,
Mm-hmm.
for their education plan. Um, and that was just, you know what? I don't even know what we were invested in, to be quite honest. It was just this weird, it was just an RSP to me. I had no idea what they were about, what the stock market was, nothing like that. And then I got divorced. Like I said, when my kids were young, and had some financial things to get organized at that time, figuring out my finances. And then I decided I wanted to start investing again. That would have been like my early 30s. And I went to Scotiabank, had a guy there, dealt with him, and again, have no idea. I guess it was mutual funds, to be
Yeah.
honest. Um, and and then I don't know, I felt like, it wasn't really personalized. I didn't feel like I had a good grasp on my investments, and it was very little at that time because I didn't have a lot of extra money. So I then overheard a coworker one day, and she was talking about her financial advisor, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, I want a financial advisor. That's a thing that I could get. And she was like, oh yeah, here's her number, her name. So I contacted her, and she came out to my house, sat at my dining room table. We had a great rapport. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this is going to change my life, right?
Yeah. Did she ask you
So
a
I
bunch
was
of
with her.
questions? Did she ask you a bunch
Yeah,
of questions like risk tolerance, high, medium, low, all that stuff?
that's right.
Okay.
So, over the years, I was with her 11 years in total, and she kind of became a friend. She knew my life, she knew my kids, she knew what was going on, in every aspect of my financial life and some of my personal life too, right? But around year 10, 9, 10, I like in the beginning, I didn't have time to worry about finances. I just left it with her, and I was quite happy that way. But I also, I like um, having a good grasp on my finances, knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm very much a do-it-yourselfer in every other aspect of my life. So I started, to question things. Like I didn't feel like I was making money, to be honest. So I would just kind of write the TFSA check, every January and deposit it and do some RSP contributions. But didn't look at the numbers too close at that time. But as I got more time and started to learn a bit more, I started to think that it could do better.
So
Um,
when you say,
that
sorry to interrupt, when you say
yeah,
TFSA check, you mean like at the beginning of the year, it's
yeah,
now another 6,000, so you'd write a
that's right.
check and send it to her, and they
Yep,
would take care of investing it for you in
that's right.
Scotiabank mutual funds. Okay, so pretty much a classic, typical story.
Correct. Actually, she was with Investors Group. I left Scotia Bank
Ah, okay.
to Investors Group. So, I just started looking into it a little bit more. And then, around, yeah, you're like towards the end of our me being with her, I read this book called Beat the Bank. And because I was starting to, can I do this myself? So I stumbled across this book by Larry Bates, I believe. And I read it and I opened a Questrade account like within a couple of days because I said, I
Yeah.
can do this. So that was kind of the beginning of that. Within a year, I didn't tell her I did this because I thought she would try and discourage me. I don't know if she would have, but I felt like she might. So I put $1,000 in and I bought two Tesla stocks. Those are my first two stocks. And I bought a couple more and a couple more. And over about a year, I learned about do-it-yourself investing. And I still had her with Investors Group. So then she let me know she was going to be retiring. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is perfect. Um,
So you
she
didn't have to
said,
feel bad.
right, because I honestly, that was part of it. I felt like she was, I was going to be letting her down. It's a very weird relationship you get with your financial advisor. You feel
Yes,
like you owe
that's
them.
I'm sure a lot of people watching are gonna relate to the story. My parents
Yeah,
and even us, we've kind of went through the same thing because you do develop a personal relationship with them. You know, they come to your house maybe once a year,
yes,
twice a year. You get to call
yep,
them, and
yep,
sometimes they become friends. So it's kind of hard to tell them, oh well, I'm just gonna do it myself now. So it's really
yep,
funny how you did. You did it kind of in secret. I'm gonna do $1,000 on my own. So I
yes.
commend you for that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was the only way I could see that maybe I wasn't going to be good at it or like it or whatever. So then I could just pretend it. I didn't, that I would just stay with her and not change anything. Um, but I did set up a meeting with her about the halfway point before I made the switch and to talk about fees. And I wanted to know because this book spoke so much about the fees you pay and I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what I've paid over 10 years in fees
Yeah,
for
classic
managing my
problem. Yeah.
portfolio. And once I saw that number, I was like, I'm out. Like that's where my I felt like that's where some of the growth had gone was paying these fees. And I don't know if people realize whether your portfolio is up or down, how no matter how big it is, it's not just the growth that you pay the fees on, it's the entire portfolio. So it's kind of a win-win for them, right? My like I know the number now because I went back and I pulled it actually before doing this video. And my returns over 11 years, my average return was it was not very good at all. And so it was definitely the right decision for me. She had said, "I'm going to get you, I'll find somebody. I'll refer you to somebody." I said, "You know what?" I said, "Don't." I said, I'm actually going to manage my own investments." And I thought she was going to like try and convince me not to. And she actually said, "Monique, you're a smart girl." And she said, "I think you'll be able to do this." And I was like, "Whoa, that wasn't what I expected." But I think it's also because she was
Yeah,
retiring.
I was
So
gonna
it was
say, I
just kind of,
wonder, I wonder if she wasn't retiring, if she would have said that. That's probably like,
yeah,
because they're in a difficult spot too, because they
yeah,
know most likely you'll do better off without them, but it's
right.
how they make their
Yeah,
money and they make their
that's right.
commission. So it's a very difficult situation.
Yeah, that's
If
right.
you don't mind me asking, what was your average return? Did they give you a specific number?
Yeah. Over
Uh,
11 years for my RRSP, it was 3.9. And for my TFSA, it was 3.5.
ugh. That's average
Terrible.
average annual?
Average, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Average, yeah. I don't know if annual or the whole time, average over the whole time.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably the average annual over the whole time,
Yeah.
which,
Yeah.
it's compared to the overall stock market, obviously not that great. But
Yeah.
my
No.
assumption, and
Yeah.
this, you don't have to feel bad because a lot of people are in the same boat, even some of my own family members, because the last 10 years, 15 years, the fixed income market has been terrible. And that's probably what dragged your returns down. Because if you just say medium risk, let's say at a financial
Yeah.
advisor, you'll
Yeah.
automatically be a portion is going to be put in fixed income and bonds, which has done literally nothing
Yeah.
in the last
Yeah.
10 years. So
And I
that's
think,
probably my guess.
yeah, and I think that's why I wasn't seeing, like, I felt like just the money I was putting in is all I was getting. Like, it was kind of like savings, a savings account, right?
Yeah.
Because those returns were just, and then when you take the fees off the top, like, so now, I definitely made the right choice in that regard. And shortly, like, so within a year of opening the Questrade account, I opened Questrade in December of 19 and in November of 21. So just over a year,
Okay.
I transferred everything to Questrade.
Okay.
And
So when did you discover passive income investing, or, the covered call funds? And by the way, you were kind enough to share your portfolio. We're going to take a look at it in a second.
Sure. Yeah. So I went in, initially I was investing in growth. I had about 40 stocks, individual stocks and ETFs combined. It was a
Hmm.
lot to manage. I was really struggling with that. Like now I understood the stuff. I watched YouTube. I followed, many channels on YouTube of Canadian investors. I was very um, concerned with Canadian content.
Yeah.
So I followed, the typical, the ones that you end up finding when you're looking. And I felt like I didn't know which direction I was going. I'm like, now I understand the stock market. I feel like I know what I'm doing, but I don't have a plan. Like I'm just buying here and there all over the place. Oh, I like this, and this has a good return, and this, and so that was a bit discouraging to me because I didn't know which direction I was going. I felt like I was just kind of winging it, which I didn't like the whole time. That was bothering me, but
Hmm.
I didn't know how else to do it. So I started researching again. And again, I didn't have like a really balanced portfolio because I didn't really like I know what that means, but how do you actually do that, right?
So did
Um,
you have single stocks at that? Were you buying single
mhm,
companies or ETFs at
mm,
that point?
both. I was buying both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had a lot of VFB, which is the S&P 500. That
Yeah.
was one of my biggest ETFs, but I had
Always a good
others.
choice.
Yeah, yeah, I had others, and I was always big in Tesla because I believed in that company. So that was another one of my big holdings. But I had McDonald's and Coca-Cola and um, just yeah, all kinds of whole variety. Bell, Hydro,
Okay. Blue
just
chip, some
different, like
classic
good.
blue chips, lots of
That's
dividend
right.
stocks.
Yeah, so they were solid companies, and I was good with that. Like I was doing okay. Some paid a little dividend, every quarter. That was the typical, and I loved that. I was like, oh, look at this,
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy, but I just felt like I was stuck. So again, I started looking on YouTube, researching, how can I do better at this? And I stumbled across your channel. And that would have been like November of 2022.
Okay. So
And
quite a while ago, like 3 years ago, almost.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, what? Like this is like too good to be true. So I watched and watched and again, when it comes to finances, I mean, you have to be because I'm a single income household. Um, I'm very careful. I think things through. I'm not a knee jerk person. So I sat on it and I watched, but I was like, it's, they, they, they've left their jobs. They're living in Panama. They sold their condo. Like I just watched the whole story and just a part of me, I was leery, but I was very
Yeah.
intrigued, you know? because I'm like that is what I want to do, right? And in the meantime, I should add that I had bought two rental properties. I had saved up for down payments, and one I bought on my own, and another one I bought with my boyfriend at the time. I was in a long-term relationship, and we bought one together, and that was within a year I had done that. So that was like that was going to be my retirement plan. So my family had always been in real estate, had rentals and stuff like that. So I was very familiar with that. And so I thought I was set. I was like, this is great. There's my retirement plan. I'll sell those at some point. And about 2.5 years ago, I sold one of the rentals. My relationship, we weren't together anymore, so we sold the rental, and I put the money into the bank, and it sat there for 2.5 years. And because I didn't know what to do with it, I said my TFSA is maxed out, my RSP is maxed. Well, I guess I'm not investing it, so I get some more contribution room.
And then you
So I was
discovered
trying
just
to,
the regular account.
yeah, well, I did high interest savings, and I would look for the deals on interest, but
Yeah,
you learn pretty quick bank interest. It's the worst type of income you can have,
the
right?
worst.
It's
Yeah.
taxed. I know. So that was a lesson learned. So fast forward a little bit. I my son actually, so I hadn't bought any PII, and it'd been like 2.5, like 2 years that I had been watching your channel, and I still didn't do it. But my son came to me early this year, and all three of my kids invest. They were growth investors at the time and had TFSAs and RSP accounts. And my 23-year-old came to me and he said, Mom, I want to start looking into dividends, like dividend investing. And I said, wow, I watched this guy on YouTube, and he lives his whole life living on his income from his portfolio. So we watched some videos together, and he's like, I want to do this. So we ordered the ultimate investing package
The
that you have
package.
online,
Yeah.
because I was like, where do I start? Like, you
Yeah.
can watch the videos, but it's still like, okay, exactly, where do I start? So I ordered that, and we sat down and we looked. You have 8 portfolios in that, and we each picked one. And it was so exciting. I was like, he's the one that said, we're going to open a cash account. I have to do it in a cash account because I don't have room.
Yeah.
He has first home savings too and all that. So I said, oh, I haven't had a cash account before. Like, I don't know how that works. So I said to him, you research, because of course, as everybody's question is, but the tax implications, right, on a cash account.
Yeah.
So he looked into that and he goes, Mom, it's no problem. He's like, there's dividend credits and there's this and that. And so I said, okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And
Good.
so we each opened up a cash account, and we put 8,000 each into our own accounts, and we picked the portfolio and populated it. And that was the beginning of the end. It was
The
amazing.
beginning of the beginning.
The beginning of the beginning, the beginning of the end of my growth, the growth. Yeah. So,
Interesting. Wow. What a great
yes,
story. Your son's a
yeah.
smart kid.
He is. He
You did
actually,
a good
and
job. Yeah, I think your story is gonna resonate with so many people. There's so many great points that we could unpack. The thing that strikes me the most is that a lot of people have the same hesitation, the same concerns at the beginning, just to kind of get that leap of faith to get started. But once you
yeah.
do, it's kind of like a rolling
Oh,
thing, and you
yeah.
just start learning on your own. This is why I always tell people, look, I can't tell you exactly what to buy, what to do. I could show you what I do. I could give you some examples, some inspiration, but it's kind of like, kind of like Morpheus in the Matrix. Like I could only show you, open the door. You got to walk through it, right? I just remember that now
Exactly.
because I recently saw the
That's
movie.
right.
But anyway, I like how a lot of people are scared of the cash account, right? Max out the TFSA, the RSPs. What do I do next? They're like scared because of the taxes. But your son's a smart kid. It's not that bad. And
Oh,
like you said at the beginning, the bank interest income, that's taxed the worst.
yep.
With covered call ETFs and dividend stocks, there's eligible dividends, capital gains, ROC. You're literally taxed like 50% better than salary income, rental income, which you have
Yes.
experience with. So I think a
right?
lot of people are going to resonate with your
Yes.
story. So let's say there's someone watching who's kind of in your shoes
Yeah.
back then, that maybe the TFS says max, you have a rental property, you sold it, didn't go well, you have a big amount of money in the bank, you got an inheritance, you got something. What would you tell them to motivate them to take that leap of faith? Just take the leap of faith? Like, what would you tell them?
You know, I always say your money's either is money does two things. It either works for you or it works against you. You
That's
know,
great.
your money can make you a lot of money, and debt drags you the other way. You're either going forward or back, right? Depending on which avenue you take. And having money sit in the bank, you're actually just losing money. Like
Yep.
it doesn't like with what do you call
Inflation.
that? Yeah,
Your
inflation, and then
money
if you are
loses
making
value every day. Yeah.
exactly. And the power I see behind investing it now that I'm doing it in a way that is tangible,
Yeah.
like this income investing is so tangible. Every month you see the money. Even with growth, it's like the numbers on the screen, but until you actually cash those in, you haven't made anything. So I would say start small, but start. Like I was terrified. I had money sitting in the bank for 2.5 years that I
Hmm.
like now I'm like, oh my goodness, like that was such a bad decision. And you don't have to do it all. I didn't even do it all. I did, a chunk and then a chunk and a
Yeah.
chunk because I just had to like see and feel and again it was my son. He is very financially savvy, very smart in that and he kind of gives me, we talk a lot about finances, him and I, and my other kids too. We all talk about it. Because that is one of the hard things. People don't talk about finances, right? Like, and not that you talk to anybody about it, but then how do you learn? How do you, I want to tell so many people about this way of investing or just invest, period. Start somewhere. Um, but it's to see your money working for you
Yeah.
it's life changing. It's life changing. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter the number, right? Whether you have $2,000 or, you know, $75,000, it'll all work for you it's just a snowball, right? It's
Yeah,
just you have
that's a
to
good
start.
point. That's a very good point. A lot of people are
Yeah,
discouraged. Oh, I only have like 4 or 5,000, $1,000. Everyone starts with $1,000. Okay,
that's right.
everyone has to start somewhere. They feel a bit
Yeah.
discouraged. So that's a really good point. One last thing
Yeah.
before I just want to mention that you
Yeah.
mentioned, which was amazing, by the way. You kind of articulate. So I think all styles of investing are great, including growth. I think just
Mhm.
investing in VFV is a great long-term decision. Index funds, fantastic, it works. But you kind of articulated perfectly the kind of the problem you're going to have later on. It's just on paper, it's not tangible, right?
Mhm.
You have to sell at one point to actually realize your
That's
gains,
right.
unless it's all unrealized, right? Unreal. Of
Yeah.
course, VFV does give
Yeah.
you a tiny, tiny dividend, but for the most part, you're not going to see anything tangible. And
No.
this brings me to your portfolio now. So you've been kind enough to share. We'll just look at it real quick here. So here it is. Hopefully everyone could see it clearly. So kind of like, so the first thing I'll notice is I still see that you love Tesla. You love a Tesla stock. That's
Yeah.
obviously a big conviction of yours. And look, everyone has a right to their convictions. That's great that you have that conviction. But in terms
Mhm.
of the rest, you have what I would like to call kind of like the classic
Mhm.
stuff, the classic PII foundational, good core, diversified positions to buy and hold forever, like HHIS and HYLD, QQCL, USCL, right? This is the NASDAQ, the S&P, concentrated NASDAQ. You have Biggie, which is kind of like HHIS, even more concentrated. You have the
Yeah.
days from Hamilton, S Day, which is like McDonald's is in there. Like, you got your US dividend stocks. You have a bit of MSTE too, some
Yeah.
Bitcoin stuff as well with HBIX, HBT, MSTE. Coincidentally, those are
Yeah.
the three that I have as well for my Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you think it's a coincidence? That's where I kind of learned about them a little bit. It brought it to my attention, seeing your portfolio, right? So
Yeah, yeah. So a very well, classic diversified portfolio with some Bitcoin and a strong conviction and in Tesla as well. We don't have to talk about your strong conviction in Tesla. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are big fans and are
I
thinking
know.
about the future. I'm just curious, is it the cars? Is it the potential for the robots? Because I think that's where the big growth is going to be. I'm
Yeah,
just
well, and that's
curious.
right. It's not necessarily just the cars. I think it's just, yeah, everything that I think it's a company that's just going to move forward. It's Elon Musk. I like Elon. I think he's got a lot of brilliant ideas and things
Hmm.
that he does. He goes places that a lot of people don't. He seems to get things done, and yeah, it's kind of near and dear to me because it was the first stock I ever bought.
Yeah,
And so over the 6 years, I've been in it 6 years, I've done well in it. I can say that because it's gone up and split and all this
yeah.
type of stuff. So
No, it's
I
it's
think
great.
eventually I will because I see the potential. It's great that I have it. But if I turned it into a passive income, put it into passive income investments, like it
It'll
would, yeah,
skyrocket. Yeah, I mean, you already have the Harvest Tesla one. I think you're maybe experimenting
yeah,
and seeing it. So this is
I
basically just
am.
Tesla as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people get emotionally attached to
I
their
know.
growth stocks that have done really, really well. But now, and it's great to keep it, but again, like you articulated before, you're gonna have to sell it at one point unless Tesla incorporates a small dividend, which I doubt. But now you have the option of switching it to, for example, a Tesla from Harvest, which is hard, just Tesla exposure. And another thing we all need to remember is that a lot of the great stocks that people get emotionally attached to, like for you, Tesla, I know another guy, some other guy it was Microsoft. These are
Yep.
stocks, these are pretty big weightings in HHIS and HYLD and in the NASDAQ and the S&P. So I tell people, just just because you're selling it and going and transitioning into something else doesn't mean you're losing the exposure to the
That's right.
company. So
Exactly.
thank you so much
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
sharing
Yeah.
that your portfolio. Um, I stopped sharing, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, perfect. Sorry. All right, so tell me, you articulated already perfectly before, it's tangible, right? The
Yeah.
PID income-oriented system. Can you expand on that? What is your favorite part of this style of investing, the income style?
My favorite part. Well, my favorite part is a few days after I get paid my dividends, I get to go shopping in Questrade, right? And reinvest. I reinvest everything.
Okay, so
Right
you do
now,
reinvest everything right now because you're
100%.
still working, right?
Yep, yep, I'm
Okay.
still working. My I've never cashed out anything in any of my accounts ever in Questrade. So I'm just yeah, it won't change now with dividend. I reinvest 100%. So I love that. I have two of my accounts on drip. So I love it's hands off. Like really you can do as much or as little as you want to maintain your accounts, right? Like with the drip, if you're the type that is like, I don't want to worry about that, then you turn
Yeah.
on drip on your accounts and you don't have to worry about it. I have it on my RSP and TFSA just because I have very small like few holdings there. So I just reinvest into those. But in my cash account, I have a few more. As you can see, about 14. So I like to select to keep it balanced, and so I'll purchase after dividends are paid, I'll purchase what I want to focus on that month with the money. But the compounding effect,
Hmm.
like every month, so I have my big one of your spreadsheets again that's in the package that I purchased is a tracker.
Yeah, the
So
blank sheet. Yeah.
similar to what you show on your channel every month. I filled that out. My kids have theirs too. And as you purchase, you update. And then I always write the number down on my dividends, what they were before I update. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like next month it's gonna be $200 more.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So the compounding effect is unbelievable. Again, that they're tangible, that you actually see every month. And I think that's what my children like the best about, because growth, they never got excited about their growth accounts, never. And now every month they're like, oh, guess what it is this month, you know? So it actually really pulls them in because even though they don't touch the money either, they reinvest. It's actually like money is in your account that you didn't have to put there,
Yeah,
right?
you could see it. You could see the cash flow coming in, and yeah,
It's
this
like
is great.
saving without having to save. I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
like you said, the compounding, and then it accelerates. What I really like for younger people like your kids is that it's funny that you should say you said they don't really get excited about growth. Well, growth is very, very exciting when there's a lot of growth, but it's terrible when there's not growing. And again,
Yeah.
you have to sell. So the question is,
Right.
when do I sell? What do I do with the money afterwards? These are all problems that are solved with the income system. You don't really have to deal with that. Would you say this is a question for you relating to your kids who are, I don't know if all three of them are investing, but whoever it is,
Yeah.
would you
They
say
are.
that now they kind of it gives them discipline, a little bit more discipline, because now it's like, well, instead of spending my buying the latest thing or the latest clothes, well, I if I invest this $100 or $500, well, I'll make more money next month. Like, do you see that in their
Oh,
mindset where it's like they get that motivation and that discipline?
absolutely. Yeah. No, 100%. Because now they look at it and they're at a point now where it's kind of like the amount of another paycheck or even two paychecks. Like, because, they're all in careers, they're all in the trades. And that's how they process it, right? They're like, that's a paycheck I didn't even have to work for, essentially. And so it's almost a little bit of a competition between them
That's
that,
good. That's great.
well, how much are you getting? Well, how much are
Yeah,
you? So it's kind of
that's
fun. Like
awesome.
we have a lot of fun with it. And I've
Fantastic.
shared with other people too. I've other outside of my kids, there's four other people I've shared, and they've actually started passive income investing because they're like, wow, when you know somebody that's doing it, like
Yeah.
personally, it's very powerful. And I love to talk about it. So they can sit with me and be like, okay, tell me about this. And I tell them. And again, you're right. I did up a little spreadsheet after one of your videos. You did, the top 10 ETFs and the top, and you've done. So I did a little chart up to say, what it is, what it holds, how much the dividend is, and and I share it with people, right? And that way they can see. And I go, here's the top, 12 recommended or the top
Yeah.
12. And so I talk to people about it all the time and it gets them excited. Like people love learning about this because it's kind of like I feel like it's a hidden secret, even though it's not.
Yeah, I
I'm
get
like,
that all
how
the
did I
time.
not know about this?
Yeah, yeah. So it's hard to explain. So covered call ETFs are relatively new. They started coming out in 2011. The
Mhm.
system, like the income-oriented system, I wouldn't say is that new, but typically it's
Yeah,
more dividend stocks. That's how it was
right.
first created. There is a guy in the US that came out, Steve Bavaria. I've had him on my channel. I give him the credit. He's like the godfather of income investing. But he
Okay.
does it more in a classic old school way with closed-end funds and more fixed income bond stuff in the US.
Right.
But he's like, I told him, you should look into covered call ETFs as well. So there's the PII passive income investing system. You could apply it to many things, not just covered call ETFs, but
Right.
people apply that kind of same concept to rental properties as well, or dividend
Right.
stocks, right? You're
Right.
trying to grow your income, right?
Yeah.
You're trying
Yeah.
to grow your income. So
Yeah.
this is great. I mean, obviously, you're a very, very bright woman. When I think of who I'm talking to, my audience, I think you are, and what I wish they would do
Mhm.
after I review the grade 10 or now the grade 16 or review
Yeah.
this ETF is exactly what you described doing. Taking the information, doing some research on your own, writing it down, sharing it
Yeah.
with people. I think you're literally like the perfect PIIer. I'm so proud of you. It's unbelievable. I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
You did a
Thank you
great
so
job. Your
much.
kids, imagine if we would have had this knowledge when we were in our 20s, like your kids. Can you
That's
imagine that? By the
I
time,
wish that, and that is what I think. Like this has changed my life. Yeah, it's changed my life, and I haven't been in it that long. Um, and I think even more better, like better than that, more so than just that, is it's changed my kids' lives. Like this is
that's
going to put them
great.
on a path that it's undescribable how
Yeah,
happy I am for them, that they're going to have a different financial journey than I had because I struggled trying to find. I'm 56 and I finally, have found my way. What works? It's a plan, and that's what I like. I For all these years I didn't have a plan, and now I'm like, this is my plan. I finally know my plan.
great.
As I was nearing retirement, because I'm planning to work till about 60, but I don't. I'm not gonna have to. Like that's for sure. I know
That's
I
true,
was.
and yeah, that's great. And you advised me we're not gonna talk about amounts. We'll keep that private. But
Yeah,
you advised me
yeah,
that your investment income has now surpassed your salary income. So
mhm,
technically, Monique,
yeah,
you are financially free. You're financially independent.
yeah,
You have
yeah,
reached fire already, technically, right?
yes,
So
yeah.
how does it feel?
I'm on cloud nine. Like it feels very surreal. Like I love spreadsheets. I love crunching numbers. I love forecasting. Like I love all of that. You can ask people, and on a Friday night, I don't mind sitting on my computer and looking at spreadsheets and and watching YouTube investing videos. Like I love doing all of that. Not that that's how I spend my Friday nights, but I don't mind doing that if that's the plan. So I feel when I look at those numbers, it's hard. I haven't quite even wrapped my head around that this is where I am now and at this point in my life. It's very surreal.
I'm happy for
Um,
you, and it's
yeah,
definitely well deserved. Your kids are very lucky to have you, and you're obviously very lucky to have them. They're very smart, and it's so cool that you kind of are doing it together, and there's a little
yeah,
competition. I love that.
yeah.
It's really, really incredible, and they could pass it down too to their
That's right.
friends and to their
Oh,
kids, and it's
right.
great,
And
isn't it?
once you know it and you find this,
Yeah,
you will it changes your life. It's changed everything for me. Like it's changed everything.
I'm so
So
happy to hear that.
I'm
Well
I'm
deserved, well deserved.
extremely
So.
yeah.
You've been a great sport. I love talking to you. Obviously you know what you're talking about. You have a lot of experience now. I have one final
Hmm.
question.
Hmm.
So I meet with a lot of people, and you were one of them, right? A few months ago or
Yeah,
whatnot,
that's
that
right. We did
are,
it one-on-one just yeah,
yeah,
a month ago or
yeah,
something.
and yeah, and anyone who's, I try to, whenever I do a one-on-one and I feel like they have a good story and they have some experience, I always try to tell them, hey, by the way, if you want to do a testimonial, that would
Mhm.
really appreciate it. And I have to say thank you to you because you were up for it right away because you knew it's going to help people. So great karma for you. I do
Yeah,
have
yeah.
one question for you now. I speak to a lot of now women, certain
Mhm.
age, kind of like in your
Mhm.
age group, that are
Mhm.
divorced, they're single, they have kids,
Mhm.
they, they're more worried, they're more hesitant. What
Mhm.
advice would you give them, like specifically to kind of women in your shoes that maybe are still working, they're a bit scared of the future of investing?
Yeah.
What would
Yeah.
you tell them?
So, yeah, I think as a single, because like I said, I was divorced very young. My kids were 2, 4, and 6. They were young. Money gives you choices and freedom. And that was always my goal. I'm like, I want choices. I want to be able to make my own choices and have freedom to make those choices at some time in my life. I knew it wasn't going to be, it was going to take time to get there, but you just have to start no matter how much. If it's $25 a paycheck and that's all you can invest, then invest $25. That is it's not about how much, it's just that you do it and you do it
You
consistently.
start, yeah.
That's right. And I think you have to learn. I became a bit of a YouTube fanatic because I just love watching the videos. It's about learning, right? Learn. Um, And I think once you see, even, investing, if, in a month you put $200 in or something, and you just see the small compounding effect, it's very addictive. It doesn't take long to be like, wow, if I keep doing this in a year, I'll have this much. And I think it's for women, especially, speaking of myself, if you're on your own, single income family, it's hard. Like things are hard. It's hard to save. It's hard but to me, it was more important than, whatever, driving the best car or having the new clothes and the this. I'm not an Amazon shopper. I don't like shopping, isn't my thing. Saving and investing, that's my thing, right? It just became, and I've always been this way. It's not that it started at any point in time. It's just how I am. But I think people, once you see it and if you know where to start, like honestly, like that package that I bought online, your package, the ultimate investing package, I think it was like $150 or something. It was so worth it. There was so much information in there. And you're not telling me to say that, like, I
No, I'm
honestly
not.
believe this.
Let's just say that, but I'm glad you think so.
No.
But that's why I created it. I actually created it. First of all, people don't know this. I created it for me first. I was trying just to so I could track everything in Excel, and then I'm like, well, people could use this. They could look for funds and maybe some portfolio samples. So that's how it
Oh,
came about. And actually, I'm due for
that's
an
right.
update. I'm going to be updating it soon. But
Right.
I do appreciate it.
It's just, it's kind of a roadmap, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of links. There's more than just like it's paid. There's so many tabs on that spreadsheet, and every tab I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that, and linking out to different things that are helpful, tax sites and different things. And I think if you look at that portfolio and you just build a little one of those, pick the one that works for you. You don't have to think about it. It's there and it's laid out very well, and they're very simple. They're not big. Um, and just try it. And you know what? It will work. But if you're, I say if you're feeling uneasy or uncomfortable, that's just a good little short, it's a short path to
Yeah.
getting on the train. Like I don't think you'll look back. I think you'll be extremely happy. And, I kind of look at it now, like I feel like I'm a double income house now, but it's just it's still only me, right? But my dividends or income is pulling in this, and my job is pulling in the other, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
incredible.
good.
And teach your kids. That's the other big piece of advice I have. Talk to your kids about money, like educate them. It's not a secret in my house that I invest and we talk about it all the time. It's dinner table talk quite
Great.
often, and they get comfortable with it, and then it's not scary because I think the stock market, I have to say, I was thinking about this, and when I thought of the stock market, I used to watch like City TV or whatever, City Line, and there'd be the ticker at the bottom of the TV screen, right? The stock market. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but that looks terrifying, right? And now I love the stock market. I understand it. It is not scary as people think it is. It's actually it's very easy to figure out if you just take a little bit of time to learn about it. There's a lot in it. I think that's what people get confused by.
Yeah,
There's a lot of choices, a lot of different sectors and all. But if you take all that noise out of it and just look at what it really is, it's actually very simple.
wow. Words of
Yeah.
wisdom. A lot, so much words of wisdom there to unpack. But yeah, no, you're totally right. It is hard to start. There's a lot of, and if you watch the news, it seems like every day the stock market's going crazy.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
really a lot simpler than most people think, and you don't have to be a trader or whatever. You could, I tell people all the time, look, if you're just starting, you want to open your first TFSA, your first whatever, just
Yep.
start with maybe something like you did, like VFV or the S&P
Exactly.
500, something where you can go wrong with a nice baseline where you kind of buying the whole US stock market. You have another index for the whole Canadian. Now you have, funds that have the whole world as well. It's never been, it might seem complicated, but it's actually today, it's never been easier to start investing on your own. Like you said, 25 bucks a month, get started and
Yeah.
stop shopping on Amazon, instead shop in Questrade, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
yeah. So this has been great. It's been fun. You've been awesome. I really really appreciate your time. Obviously, great karma for you. You're a great example for many people out there, for women out there. So congratulations, and keep track of your progress. Email me once in a while. Let me know how things are going. I'm curious,
I
and
will.
maybe we'll do this again sometime. And you never know.
That would be great.
All right. Thanks so much, Monique. Take care.
Okay. Thank you.